Worst is straight ahead. It is heartbreaking. America is in the midst of a second Gilded Age, as millions of Americans struggle to get by while the ultra-rich get richer, on the heels of a pandemic that's only exacerbated our country's already radical wealth inequality. Just look at this weekend, when teachers in South Dakota were invited to a Dash for Cash event at a hockey game sponsored by a local mortgage company. As is so often the case, it was billed as something heartwarming, to do something awesome for teachers. But what exactly is heartwarming? About 10 underpaid teachers, people given the responsibility of taking care of other people's most precious resource, their children, during a pandemic, no less, crawling around on an icy floor, stuffing dollar bills into their shirts for a few $100 for classroom supplies, while spectators cheer them on. That's not heartwarming. It's a dystopian nightmare. Squid Games, American style, or the Hunger Games. According to the National Education Association, South Dakota is ranked second to last in the nation in teacher salary. And teachers across the country have long been shelling out their own money to pay for school supplies, which they should not have to do. Meanwhile, also filed under What Does This Say About Our Country? This week, Time magazine named world's richest man Elon Musk as Person of the Year. The same Elon Musk who says Democrats should can President Biden's Build Back Better bill, which would help women and children and families, while calling for an end to all government subsidies, even though he built his empire with government subsidies. Meanwhile, his competitor in the billionaire space race, Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, celebrated another launch of his space tourism for high rollers rocket, and only later acknowledged the 6 Amazon workers killed in the collapse of one of his company's warehouses during Friday's devastating tornadoes. It goes without saying, instead of spending billions on becoming rocket men, they could pay their share in income taxes, since ProPublica found that they've paid virtually nothing. But even the faux right-wing populists who claim to care about the little guy are just in it for the grift. Like Christian Walker, son of Georgia Republican Senate candidate Herschel and, a professional influencer, complaining about gas prices.
Y'all said Joe Biden was going to be the great unifier? This is divisive to my bank account and my hard-earned money.
Well, that man of the people was wearing a $1,300 sweatshirt for that screed. And he later said that people dragging him were just jealous and lazy poors. But what do you expect from a supporter of the literal gold tower-dwelling former president who continues to grift his supporters, collecting $1 billion for a social media company that does nothing? But like the robber barons of the first Gilded Age, some of today's ultra-rich think that they can just throw cash at the problem through charity. Jeff Bezos spends billions on his 10-minute space tours, but in June, he announced a $200 million donation to, today, Trump became president, chatter Man Jones and the wonderful Jose Andres for the charities of their choice, when he could have just not spent billions to do what NASA already did in the 1960s. And that is why that video of South Dakota teachers is so, well, disgusting. Charity stunts that purport to do something good just mask the reality of our societal failures. Instead of reveling in a gladiator-style scramble for cash for classroom supplies, and the organizers for the hockey team and sponsor have since apologized, the haves could just pay their fair share. And then we could properly fund public education and pay teachers a living wage. If teachers had appropriate paid leave, or our healthcare system wasn't obscenely unaffordable, we wouldn't get good news stories about teachers donating sick days for their cancer-stricken colleagues. There's nothing inspiring about citizens forced to GoFundMe their way into a social safety net. And we need to recognize this poverty porn for what it is. Because American inequality and our consistent refusal to address our broken system is the absolute worst.